everybody to another edition of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, here with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove, who is under the weather.
Big time, but not the
But
COVID.
it
But
ain't
still under the
COVID.
weather.
It ain't COVID. And you know what? He still made it in for us, so we really do appreciate that. We're going to jump right into it, sir. We just had week 17 of the NFL, which means that we have completed an entire NFL season. All games were played, whether they were played on their regularly scheduled date or rescheduled 3 times over. We got them all in. So
First time in NFL history.
That's an amazing feat, to say the least, when you have 32 teams that play for 16 weeks of play in the bye week. So that's a lot of games. First and foremost, any reactions to week 17, and then even further out, any reaction to the entire season?
Well, I was gonna say first time in NFL history that we played football games on every single day of the week. It has never happened. This is the first time. Monday night football, Tuesday night football, Wednesday night even. We had football on every single night of the week. But
Did we have a Friday? Did we have a Friday? Oh yeah, Friday because of Christmas.
Friday. Yeah, we had a Friday.
That's right. Wow.
Yep. So yeah, 2020 set a first in that regard. So, but they did what they had to do to get through the season. I respect it. They did a great job. No thanks to Haskins. No thanks to some of the Broncos quarterbacks, but made it through the season, man. As far as your question about reflection, let's start with Carolina, since we're right here.
All right.
Panthers 4-12 is what we predicted. Or I know I predicted. I don't know what your prediction was.
Yeah, same. Exact same record.
And they ended up 5-11, pretty much right on with where we thought they would be. And sometimes you just got to let these things play themselves out. You know, Carolina got off to a 3-2 start and kind of opened up a bunch of eyes and like, whoa, okay, well, wait a minute. Well, maybe Bridgewater is the guy for the future, you know? Maybe we have something here. Well, letting it play out like it did all the way into the end of the season, we see now, at least in my eyes, we need a quarterback, man. First round draft pick. We need a quarterback.
Yeah, and you're right. And you know, they did finish 5-11, and I'm going to call the season for them a success in a lot of ways, because they're 5-11. But there's probably about 5 other games they were very competitive in and could have won. And, you know, I'm not going to play the woulda, coulda, shoulda game. But what it showed me more of is that instead of just saying the team is so far away, there are certain things that if you shore those things up with this young team, this 5-win team in another 2 years could be a 10, 11-win team. With all the right pieces in place.
I completely agree with you.
And now the first 18 teams that did not make the playoffs, their draft order is already secure. Carolina currently holds the number 8 spot.
Yeah.
So there's and I agree, they definitely need a quarterback. It probably won't be Trevor Lawrence. And I'm okay with that. I saw Justin Fields play.
Very impressed. I ain't got a problem with Justin Fields being a kicker.
For the way that I see Matt Rule's offense, he would be a better fit because of his mobility. Teddy's issue is that he needs to be in an offense that is going to be able to hold up and block for him. And if you have an injury to a guard or a tackle, and now you got to bring your rotation in a lot tighter, and you've got, you know, your backup guy playing a lot more starter snaps and stuff like that, that's going to affect your quarterback play. Justin Fields would then be able to feel more of that pressure, do a lot of rollouts and things like that. and he freezes defenses because they know he might just take that ball and run with it. So you can't just sit there and over rush because you may go past him and he's zooming off somewhere else, kind of like what Lamar does.
And kind of like what my boy Hurts in Philadelphia did. We
Exactly.
saw how Philadelphia struggled mightily with immobile Carson Wentz in the pocket, and he was getting hammered for
Right.
weeks. They put
Right.
Hurts in there. Now I know you didn't get the victories that you want in Philadelphia, but
Well, because of the
that
quarterback.
quarterback play was not bad. Quarterback play was not bad, man,
No,
especially
not at
for a
all.
rookie.
Not at all. So, it's crazy. And yeah, Carolina's got some issues, of course, with the secondary that they need to address so that their front seven can be a little bit more dominant with pass rush and things like that. You got a secondary that's going to constantly need help with linebackers dropping into coverage. It's going to put a lot of pressure on your front four. So um, if they can get a little bit more, I don't know what's going to happen with Dante Action Jackson that wasn't in action a lot with turf toe and some other little nagging injuries and things like that. Now they're talking about, are they going to be able to keep KK and Curtis Samuel?
Yeah,
Because they're both up for money, and they don't know if they're going to be able to pay both of them.
Moton too. Don't forget to throw him into the
And Moulton,
mix
yeah.
because he's in
So
that
are you
category.
gonna be able, who can't you pay? Who can you afford to let go? And I'm okay with Robbie Anderson staying. He showed me a lot. But so if we let go of Curtis Samuel, then you're really going all in with DJ Moore.
Yeah, and that appears to be the case.
You're going all in.
What is this, year 4 for DJ Moore? This coming one will be year 4.
Four or five. Yeah, I
Yeah,
have to
I think
look.
he's still within his rookie deal.
He is.
So they got some decisions to make with that one.
He is. I think that
Um,
doesn't. Let me see. DJ Moore has a fifth-year option that the team can pick up.
right.
Oh my goodness. Let me see. DJ Moore was drafted in 2018 season. So he's done
2018. Yeah.
2018, 19, and 20. So he's going into his fourth year. So this is his
Yep.
money year. Because if
This
they
will be
don't
a
pick
big
up
one.
his fifth, if they don't, and normally if they really want you, because fourth year, if you got 5 years, they normally go ahead. If they plan on keeping you, they'll do an extension in the fourth year. They're not gonna make you play out your last year normally if they're confident in you. So really, this off season would normally be where they would reach out to him and say, "Hey, DJ, before we start playing year 4, because once the season starts, there ain't no deals being made. Then we'd have to
Yeah.
wait until your final year." Most teams don't do
Yeah.
that, especially if you're a number one. They try to lock you in. So are they going to lock him in this offseason when they're already trying to figure out, can they pay Moton? Can they pay Curtis Samuel and some other players?
Yeah, I definitely see Moton coming back because there's no stability to that offensive line other than him. And plus, he could play on both sides as far as the tackle position, so he's versatile. So I definitely see him coming back. Now, is there enough money made or left over after him to help out um, the wide receiver that we just talked about? I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, I don't know. Has he shown enough to be paid a second deal? I mean, I don't know. He's versatile. He can run the ball, does a lot of things. I call him the chain mover for this offense. But is it worth paying a chain mover a significant amount of money when you got other holes to fill?
Well, if we don't re-sign him, you know where he's going to go.
Where's that?
Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
Ain't
Yeah, no doubt.
that where every Carolina Panther goes?
Doesn't go to Buffalo, he will end up in Washington.
Could you could you see him though? You have Diggs on one side, and you have Samuel on the other side, and you have Cole Beasley in the slot. Oh
That's a
God!
dangerous
Oh
offense
God!
right there, man. Yeah. That is a
I,
dangerous offense.
that would be even more explosive because then you can even bring Kirko in the backfield, run him like a back or do a lot of those reverse plays and stuff like that, which he's so crafty and good at. I'd hate to lose him, but Buffalo is the landing spot because that's where you go when you get cut from the Panthers or you don't resign, unless you're
Yeah.
Bradbury and you go to the Giants or something like that. But most people seem to end up in Buffalo for some reason as
Carolina North.
Carolina
Carolina North.
North. Yeah. So yeah, so the Panthers have shown me enough to make me believe that they're on the right path. Um, totally get that with them. Um, and of course, some coaches have already lost some jobs after the final game. Uh, we knew Gase was done in New Jersey. I mean New Jersey in New York with the
Gase knew
Jets.
Gase was done.
Yeah, yeah, we pretty much knew that. Jacksonville's coach was done too, wasn't he? Didn't they get
Yeah,
rid
yeah,
of
he's out
Moreau?
of here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and uh, and here's the thing: did you see where? Speaking of the Panthers, in his first year as a coordinator, Brady's getting interviews already. He interviewed with Atlanta, and I know there were about a handful of other teams that are interviewing him for head coach.
Wow. Didn't see that happening.
Already.
Didn't see that happening, but I mean, hey, that's an testament to this guy's skill. I mean, people complain about the coordinators here in Carolina about him and Phil Snow, but I think as bare as the cupboards were for Phil Snow, he did a great job himself, man. Um, so Brady, a little shocking that he's getting head coaching interviews already in just year one. But still, I mean, this just goes to show you we got a set of good ones here in Carolina.
That's true. But I'm a little I get it. I think he needs to prove a little bit more. Maybe he found a little light in the bottle. But there's other guys out there. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that it's the greatest person, but if you have all these openings and folks like Marvin Lewis aren't interviewed, then I'm gonna have a problem with that. Um, I ain't
What
saying
about
that. I ain't saying he needs to be on any team, but there's a lot of African American coaches that did not coach this year in the NFL that should be able to get a shot. Romeo Cornell got the coach only because they got rid of O'Brien down in Houston. But and same thing in Atlanta. Um, former Tampa coach, what's his name? He got the coach because they got rid of their coach.
you think they
Uh,
keep him down in Atlanta? Doesn't sound like they will.
no, as well as they're interviewing Brady, then they've made it clear that it's at least open. He may be one of the ones considered, but they are definitely not going to just hand it over. Raheem Morris. That's what
There
I'm
you
thinking
go.
about.
Yeah.
Um, and they're not just going to hand it to Raheem. Maybe he's going to be in the running for it or not, but they're definitely interviewing other people too, just to, which I don't have a problem with that. But I think that there's a lot of great coaches out there that didn't get to coach last year, and we still need that diversity. I was already a little hesitant about having a college coach come in and take over an NFL team. I mean, there are only 32 NFL teams. We're not talking about college when there's Division One, Division this, and even in a Division One, there's so many college teams. This is a very, very precious job. There's only 32 head coaches, and you bring in a college coach that has no NFL experience. Then this coordinator has very little NFL experience. Um, and they actually did pretty well. You know, sometimes you get that, sometimes you get Steve Spurrier. You never know. But what I'm saying though is that there's other coaches, coordinators that have been around for 10, 15, 20 years that need to get interviewed for these positions.
Completely agree.
So,
Bieniemy
yeah.
should be another name thrown out
Yeah,
there.
Eric. Yeah, absolutely. should be on the top of the list.
On the top, tip top.
Top. So I mean, I'm glad Brady's getting a little consideration and everything else, but pump your brakes, NFL. He just got here. He
Right.
just got here. Let him pay some dues. Let's see if it's year 2. Okay, he did this with Bridgewater. Let's see what he can do in year 2 when now other teams have started to get some tape on his tendencies, what he likes to call, what he likes to do, what kind of personnel he likes to throw in there on, third and short, third and long, what he likes to run on 1st and 10, those kind of things. What he likes to run when they get on the other side of the 50, what they do in red zone offense. They ain't have anything to game plan you for.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with this guy having an opportunity, but if he gets the job, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem.
Kind of like when the Giants gave the dude from New England the job, and he was a positions coach. He wasn't even a coordinator.
Right.
It's like, okay, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Rooney Rule, how's that working? So, yeah, anyway, let me get off my soapbox about that because I can go on that all day. Especially with things that's happening in this country. Anyway, so now that some of the season is over for a lot of teams, there's a lot of decisions that are going to have to be made out there. Number one, New England. Cam Newton, I know it was against the Jets, but he is such an enigma. He'll have a game where he's 4 for 14 for 44 yards with maybe no picks, has a clean game that way, but is very innate on offense, gets benched and everything else. But then this game, okay, he this was a weird one. He throws 21 out of 30 for 242 yards. Throws 3 touchdowns, didn't run for any this time, but he caught a touchdown from Jacoby Myers.
Saved his best game of the NFL year for the last.
Dude, where you been?
It's too late, though. It is too late. It's too late.
It's too late. Oh, my God. I'm sitting there going, who is this dude? And he did run for 79 yards. He was the leading rusher on the team, barely, but he was the leading rusher. And he was the most productive rusher. He ran 7.2 yards a carry.
I just don't like that, though. This guy, okay, so I know my job is on the line, so let me go out and play like Superman now. You should have been playing like Superman.
Dude, you had 14 games to do that.
Exactly.
Damn. Like, don't do it just against the Jets, because I don't think it was because it was the Jets. Dude. Oh, my God. Yeah,
this was your audition. All year long was your audition, not against the Jets. So
he threw to 8 different receivers. I'm like, dude, come on.
I don't believe I've seen that.
Right. Because I heard they didn't have no receivers.
Right.
Story be told, they ain't have none. So I'm just like, I don't know if Josh McDaniels just didn't really put him in the right position, or if he's just done. And every now and then he'll have a game that'll make you remember days of long past.
Yep, I believe it's that exactly, man.
Like every now and then he'll just have that one game where it's kind of like when Jordan was on the tail end. You knew he wasn't going to consistently give you 35 points a night, but you knew on certain nights he could give it to you. He'd go ahead and do it, but he just couldn't do it consistently.
And it's the consistency that gets people paid in this league.
Right, because ain't nobody paying you to win 2 games.
Hell no.
You got to be consistent throughout the whole season. So, yeah, of course. Yep. I mean, they definitely don't want you to, okay, you did this against the Jets, but then when we playing against the Rams, when we playing against the Chiefs, I don't see you, Yep. Now you throwing high balls. Now your footwork is lousy and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm like, who is this guy? So Do you even see him in the NFL next year?
That's a good question. I mean, you look around the league right now, as far as who's he going to start with, you really can't name anybody that he's going to
Like
start
anybody?
with.
I think
He's
he's
going to have
done.
to take a backup role. And is Super Cam going to be able to accept that? I don't know. Don't know.
Reading some of the interviews that he's had lately, he's kind of like, hey, there's 32 teams out there. I don't believe that I'm the 33rd worst quarterback, basically. I would agree with him, but there's a lot of teams that are looking to the future that will take a quarterback in development,
Exactly.
and then all the other quarterbacks coming out this year, that does push you down. So somebody needs to get a hold of him and say, Cam, you gonna take a backup role,
Yeah.
and kind of wait, do the Andy Dalton, see if somebody gets hurt, and then
Do
that'll help
that
you out.
Jameis Winston. Yeah,
Yeah. Speaking of Andy Dalton,
absolutely.
the
Yeah.
Cowboys have wonderfully, when they had an opportunity again to put themselves in the postseason, they do what they always do, which is to fold. And I couldn't have been happier. I was enjoying the whole thing.
Wow, man.
At 23-19, they couldn't get it.
Against the Giants, the New York Football Giants, and Daniel
Oh,
Jones.
who ain't been doing dookie all year. And it was amazing. It was beautiful. Daniel Jones, 17-25, 229, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Pedestrian game, for most quarterbacks, but for Daniel Jones, to only throw 1 pick, it's pretty good for Daniel Jones. And he ran 9 times 17 yards, not a whole lot of average yards on that, but he did enough to win the game. And the Cowboys, again, just lackluster. 3 points in the fourth quarter ain't going to do it for you.
Just
That's
fall
all they were
short every
able to
time.
do. That's all they were able to do. They were already down 20-9 at halftime, and they only scored 10 points in the second half. The Giants, to their credit, only scored 3 more points, but it was enough to, keep the Cowboys at bay. They've got a lot of things to figure out with the Cowboys. Number one, Dak next year, is he franchised again, or does Jerry now realize that even though Dak ain't Mahomes, Dak ain't Deshaun Watson, Dak ain't Russell Wilson, that you're going to have to pay Dak if you want him long term? Or are you going to sit there and commit $37 million of your salary cap to a quarterback in a salary cap year where it's going to be less next year because of COVID?
I think Dak, by doing absolutely nothing other than getting injured, has shown his worth to the Dallas Cowboys this year. They're gonna
Right.
have to pay the dude. They're gonna have to pay him,
Because
unless
if
they
you
have
because
some
because if you
secret
don't pay
quarterback that
him,
I know
if
of
you don't
that's
pay
gonna come
him,
out.
somebody will. Somebody will
Somebody
pay him.
definitely will. Yeah, somebody definitely will.
And if you don't pay him, who can you bring into your organization? Who can you plug into that role that's going to make your team viable next year?
It's nobody but Dak, in my opinion. I mean,
Yeah,
you saw what the Red Rifle brought to the table, and it wasn't much.
right.
I think it was a smart move to bring him there to back up, just in case Dak did get hurt. And, things did play out that way. But, I mean, what are you going to do? You going to really pay Andy Dalton as your starting quarterback moving forward? No, I don't think so. Dak is the one that knows the offense. Dak is the one that's been there. He's giving you the best chance to win. Um, when you were having a decent season, it was Dak at the helm. So you're going to have to pay the man.
Yeah, I mean, Dalton he did okay this year. I mean, he played 11 games, and he did 2,100 yards, 14 touchdowns, 8 picks. So, I mean, he did all right. I mean, Did he do enough though to get him a starting spot on another team?
Um, he did better than Cam, I'll say that.
Yeah. I mean,
He
so
did
what
better
I'm
than
saying,
Cam.
would the Cowboys really entertain re-signing him, or was that just kind of a one-year insurance policy, and maybe now you just go call Ryan Fitzpatrick or Brian
Yeah,
Hoyer or oh God, what's the other dude's name that's always popular? Josh McCown, or you know, just some of these
yeah.
Iron Men out there.
I think the Red Rifle will be on to greener pastures next year. He kind of had Teddy Bridgewater type numbers.
He
Sounds
really
like
did.
him. So
Yes.
that's enough to earn you a starting job in the NFL sometimes, depending on where a team is at. So I think that he will earn that starting job um, for a team next year, even if he has to hand that starting job over to a drafted quarterback somewhere down the line.
So is well, I was just looking it up. I was looking at Detroit with Stafford. His contract ends in 2023.
Yeah,
So he doesn't really have a lot of money left. It was a 5-year, 135 million deal. He don't have a whole lot of money left. Is he nearing his end in Detroit? And is Detroit going to probably look to at least draft a quarterback in the second round or something like that, just to give themselves a chance? Because Detroit, the reason I bring that up, Detroit actually drafts one. We both finished 5-11, Carolina and Detroit. But Detroit is drafting 7. Carolina is drafting 8. Could Detroit possibly draft a quarterback to
they can
learn
definitely.
from Stafford and then be ready in a year or two?
They can definitely do that. Because if you look at Stafford's history, I mean, how far has Stafford gotten the Detroit Lions?
Not,
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
care.
he throws a lot of yards,
He throws a lot of yards,
but he don't
but
go to the
he
postseason.
translates to a whole lot of victories, does it?
Nope.
So,
He's Philip
so,
Rivers of Detroit.
hmm so I
Yeah.
could easily see them drafting a quarterback. Now it remains to be seen what they will do come draft night. Of course, that's one thing that's going to make this year's draft so interesting. Um, do they take a quarterback? Do they not? Because then if they don't take one, it opens up avenues for other teams further down. Same thing with Atlanta. Atlanta's kind of in a similar situation. Matt
Right.
Ryan nearing the end of his tether there too. So are they gonna stick with him, or are they gonna reach into this draft and
Even
go get the
even,
guy?
but here's the thing: if you don't stick with him, who are you going to bring in? The only thing you could really do is bring in a proven veteran.
Yeah,
But any other proven veteran out there, are they really that much better than Stafford?
or Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Ryan. Are they
yeah.
any much better? So what I'm thinking is that no matter what, they draft a quarterback.
I'm thinking they will too.
Yeah. So when you look at your first the picks above Carolina, Jacksonville is number one. Um, they need a quarterback because Gardner Minshew was their quarterback, right?
Yep, they will definitely take one. I got Trevor Lawrence going there.
Okay. Then number two is the Jets. Has
Now
Sam
people,
Darnold proven enough to the Jets to make them go, oh no, we're good?
I don't think so. You got some people that, for whatever reason, believe in Darnold. I'm not one of them. I think the Jets
Yeah,
will.
but I honestly think they're not gonna draft a quarterback anymore. I'm not saying I think that's a smart decision, but I don't think they're gonna draft a quarterback. I think they're gonna push Darnold into the middle and go all in.
Wow,
They're
I
the
don't see that,
Jets.
brother.
They're the Jets. Of course, it doesn't make sense, but that's why they're the Jets. Well,
You know,
we know the third
the
pick is Houston, and they're definitely not drafting a quarterback. So
the
possibly
New
two
York.
quarterbacks could be taken with the first two picks. I'll give it that. And then with the fourth pick is Atlanta. If they're smart, they would draft a quarterback. Because even if you keep Matt Ryan in for another year, you need to start finding his heir apparent because he got a lot more years behind him than he has in front of him. And
Could you imagine?
they haven't addressed quarterback situation in years. Last time they even had a decent quarterback behind him, I would say was probably Matt Schaub, long time ago.
Can you
Um,
imagine the New York Jets fans on draft night if they have a chance to draft Fields and they pass and take a offensive tackle?
yeah,
That is going to be an ugly scene in New York, man.
they're gonna burn it down. They're gonna burn it down.
Burn it down.
But I don't know why they used to disappointment. So I mean, hey, what's another year? So, but yeah, I'm sitting here looking at this, going, by the time Carolina gets to 8, Fields ain't gonna be there because, okay, Cincinnati has the 5th pick. They've got Joe Burrow. They're not gonna do anything. Philadelphia has the number 6 pick. They've got Jalen Hurts. They're not gonna do anything with a quarterback. But then, like I said, then Detroit has number 7. The only way I see Carolina being able to get into the Justin Fields race is they're gonna have to trade up.
It's possible only because of
Unless he falls in your lap somehow.
Yeah, only because if the guy from BYU has played himself up so well that the Jets end up taking him, which pushes Fields down to Carolina.
Right.
Now,
but what about Detroit? What if Detroit says, "Hey, Fields might be our answer to Stafford"?
Yeah, Detroit could put a mud hole in a lot of that. Could stomp a mud hole in a lot of that. But here's what's interesting for Carolina. If they don't get one of the top 3 quarterbacks, I would not say they need to use their pick now on a guy like Trey Lawrence from wherever he's from.
Right. If you don't
I
get
don't
one of
think
the
they
top
should.
3 quarterbacks, then you pretty much need to go for the best player.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got Patrick Surtain, if he's still on the board to shore up your cornerback position, you go ahead and grab him. But
Right.
just because your need is quarterback and the top 3 are gone from you,
don't pull a Daniel Jones and overreach for a quarterback.
Exactly right. Exactly
Yeah. Which I don't think they'll do that. Whether with or without Marty Herney at that GM position, I don't think they'll do that. It's just that they will have missed on a year where they could have potentially found the next franchise quarterback, but they may have to wait a year and then build a really strong line around whether it's Teddy, whether it's I think Will Greer is pretty much done. The other guy was named PJ. He's probably going to get a little bit more play now. Actually, I would love to see him let it be an open competition in training camp and really see what he can do because he's a lot more mobile. He has a decent arm. I'm not going to say he can throw bombs, but you don't need to. Robbie Anderson can catch slot passes and dig routes and everything else. You don't have to treat him like Ted Ginn Jr. and just throw a lot of long bombs and stuff, and he just outspeeds everybody. So your offense doesn't have to be based on having a burner like that and then having a quarterback that can get him the ball. But I think you need a mobile quarterback that can move the pocket with their legs than just stand in the pocket and take hits like Teddy does.
Yeah.
Because when he gets hit, he seems to like to fumble the ball or get happy feet and then start throwing picks and stuff like that. So it'll be to their advantage to get a more mobile quarterback. So anyway, we did have all 17 weeks played. Now we are into the wild card week where we had an extra team this year. So 7 teams from each conference made it to the playoffs. As I had stated before, I knew there was going to be a 10-win team that did not make the playoffs. And that was Miami. And they had a heck of a season with Tua. Again, Brian Flores, that took a whole lot of nads to sit there and make that change like you did. And you were in it. You had a chance to go. It was between them and the Rams. The Rams made it in at 10-6, and they were out at 10-6. Unfortunately, we had two other sucky teams in the NFC. Washington football team at 7-9 made it in, and Chicago Bears, the Trubisky Bears, made it in at 8-8. So two teams with not a winning season are in the wild card this weekend.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. But next weekend they'll be on the couch. I do believe. But yeah, so we have our conference winners in Green Bay and Kansas City.
What's nice about Miami's situation, though, they're in a great position because they're a team that barely missed the playoffs. They had a winning record, and they got, the top 5 pick in the draft.
Yeah.
So they have another chance to improve their football team.
And they're drafted 18, so there's no pressure to take these blue chips because a lot of them will already be gone by the time they pick at 18. So now they can just start addressing position needs without the pressure of, oh my God, I know we need this position, but the best player is still out there, and we got to go after this guy. But we just be stupid to say no. So you're right. They're going to be in a better position. Tua looks like he's going to be the real deal. He's going to be their quarterback for a while, providing he doesn't have any major injuries or anything like that. So you're right. They're in a good position. A team like, say, for instance, New England, that's drafting 15th. That's kind of bad because they need a lot of things. Yeah. And being drafted 15th doesn't help them. Arizona, Patrick Peterson, Larry Fitzgerald. I think they're done. They're done. So you need to re-up. So some teams, those low draft positions aren't going to really help them as much. So yeah, that's what I was looking at with that. So this is wild card weekend. Tell me who you got coming out of this wild card.
We'll start with my boys, Pittsburgh. I predict them putting an absolute beat down on the Browns. So
you think they're going to hand it to them like that?
I think they're going to hand it to them.
Woo!
So I could go ahead and call that one.
What's for?
The one that I really want to call.
Yeah.
But I back off of it. But then I dance up to the line again, but I back off of it. Keep your eye on Washington and Tampa, man. Washington,
really?
I believe, make that a game.
That's see. I wish. Yeah. Okay. That's a night game too, and you're right. I mean, I can see why that would be intriguing. I know Chase Young has been talking a lot about getting at Brady. If they keep Brady upright, it ain't gonna happen. The only way what you're saying is true is if Brady takes 3 steps back and he's on his tail, or he's throwing a lot of hurried passes, a lot of dump off passes to Fournette or Ronald Jones and things like that. If he cannot get AB, Mike Evans, and Godwin involved and Gronk involved, yeah, it's gonna be a long day for Brady, TB12. Totally agree with that. I don't know if it's enough to do an upset. Can Washington do enough to win? And if Alex Smith plays error-free football, he can keep him in that game. But that Tampa Bay defense, I kind of think is going to be ready for Alex Smith. I'm just a little worried. I don't know about that game. The Colts and the Bills, I kind of think the Bills are going to pull it out. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game.
Yeah, I got the Bills in that one.
I think that game gonna be in the 30s. On the other side of that, though, you got the Rams and the Seahawks, and I think that's gonna be a low-scoring game. I mean, mid-20s, maybe one of them have mid-20s, the other one has maybe like 19, like a 24-19 game. I can kind of see that. The Bucks, the Titans and the Ravens is a very intriguing game.
That one I got Tennessee all the way.
I kind of do too. I just think that the Ravens, as talented as Lamar Jackson is, he is a great regular season phenomenon to have. But I don't think that alone is enough for the playoffs. I think you got to have more of a well-rounded team than really depending on your quarterback to be your leading rusher. Especially when the other team has a real a rusher that will just run 200 yards in a game. And just wear your defense down. The more he runs, the worse the other team's defense gets, because they're just tired of taking his punishment. He's a bully. He beats the crap out of you. And then lastly, you got your Saints and the Bears, and the Bears, and obviously that's just not even fair. I think you could rest Drew Brees, play Taysom Hill, and the outcome would be the same. I just don't even see why you even bring Drew Brees in this game.
Yeah.
Or bring him in, go ahead and get that 40-13 lead, and then go ahead and bring Taysom Hill in to finish it off.
Which will probably what happened.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be surprised if you hit me up on Facebook and say, "B, you was right. It's 40-13."
Yeah.
Because I kind of see that happening. The closest games that I do see is Tampa and Washington, and probably Seahawks and Rams is the closest games. The other four, I do kind of see those as you pretty much gonna know by the third quarter game.
Yeah.
The Steelers kind of worry me a little bit, because I'm worried that if they do get a nice lead, they take the foot off the gas and let Mayfield try to do some late game heroics. That's the only thing I'm worried about. The Steelers taking the foot off the gas. If they play like they're capable of playing, even without a run game, they should be pretty potent. Again, I don't see the Browns being able to stop all those receivers for the Steelers. So,
yeah,
I think they'll be fine, and then we'll see how it shakes out for the next week. All right. Any other predictions you got?
No, man, that's it. No.
All right. Well, it should be a fun week. We got 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Spread out all night. So when you sit down at 1:00 on both days, you don't have to get up till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So it's going to be a great week of football. And we will talk more next week about how that shook out, because then we'll even know there's going to be some more teams that lose. It's going to be on the couch. We'll know their draft status as well. We'll be able to kind of even get a clearer picture with that. By then, too, we'll have some more coaches that will have been fired, and we can talk about who did get fired, who should get fired, and who's interviewing, and everything else in the world. But,